Yeah, Bill. Good morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our Father, we just thank you again for this day and for another day that honor you. Help us to be your glory in all we do. Help us to free the citizens of this county, Lord. Give us wisdom, guidance, decisions in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Glad to see you. The first item on our agenda is county personnel and public comment. Is there anyone? So we've just been handed the color copies of some quotes for a vibrating roller. This- When you want to talk about it, guys? It was on. Whenever you'd like.
They're the same ones that she put out, right?
The two, there's one of them that friction on it. It's the same one as that other, one. They're both one California, that other one is the Illinois. And I personally talked to the guy about it, it's the next size smaller. I didn't thought. He thought it would be everything. Wednesday, we can go get that ourselves. That won't break down on my. Maybe just like that one we got.
This one.
Same brand, same stock.
This one on an auction, or is this just a?
And the machinery. Okay. It's just for sale, that's one, that's the other one.
Is the county on a deadline as far as the one here in town? Is there a hot, Okay, okay.
I don't know. He said that the bigger one would be a lot better.
It would work better. It's. I talked to the guy in police about that one. He said it's been through the shop. Which I didn't go for much. He said they only put probably $100 a year on it.
Okay. But in reality, we wouldn't be saving much money because there's still a $10,000 charge that comes up. So that's built into the other one. And if you're comfortable, would you come up here so people could hear you in this microphone? I mean, no pressure, but so we're looking at vibrating rollers, a piece of equipment to follow behind this asphalt zipper.
Zipper machine.
Okay, and it's an essential part of using that other. You gotta have it, right?
It'd be,
Yeah.
It'd be better than probably anything we got. So,
Okay,
'cause we
okay.
don't have it.
okay. So this thing, a vibrating roller, is that filled with some sort of fluid, or is it just on its own weight and it just? I
No,
mean,
it's just so wait, that drum's full of, I don't know what they got in that. They fill them drums with sand or liquid or something,
okay,
and then it's everything else is hydraulic, I understand,
okay.
forward reverse.
You think, I know that out there was probably one of your larger stretches that you doing.
It's the next size bigger than having down.
The road, where we did the recognition already.
on Falcon. Most of the time, a lot of times, we're probably gonna have smaller areas that we're gonna be doing versus that long of a stretch, is there gonna be. And then having a smaller piece of equipment to get into a 25-foot area versus. I'm just thinking,
because it's not as bulky.
yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here, so just asking a question, so.
But if a bigger one packs it better, I mean, that's the main thing to get, to me.
Have you drove out to Falcon and looked at the spots?
I haven't been out there since it,
It'd be worth the drive.
since it was last completed, since the indoor was completed, that was out there. Also,
They need touched up, but that, it worked really well.
We're at on Falcon Road.
It'd be 200, down around 190.
Okay,
There's a couple spots through there you can't miss them.
can't miss them. All right,
190 and 200.
all right, I'll take a look.
But they need, we get a good rain on them this spring, they need touched up. And I think I think it's worked pretty good so far. It's harder to rock out there.
Okay,
it's going to be tested for our chip and seal this year. Put it on the coats over the top of that, say,
Shot twice. Well, I think we'll touch up on it after rain and some more traffic beating it down. I think they pretty good shape.
does the hour meter work on the one for sale here in town? Do you know? The hour meter, does it work on the one here in town?
It's,
Okay,
I could find out.
I just didn't know, I mean, list the hours here at almost 5,000. Maybe that's nothing on a piece of construction equipment.
That's got good. I think got the Deutz in it too, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't say, I didn't. And I've got it, you can call that guy, his phone number's on there, he's pretty windy, but he's a good old boy.
Okay.
Probably 45 minutes.
Okay,
So,
hope he's not listening to the meeting.
no.
Okay. Okay, well, if there's no rush on this, I would ask, so when I talked to Mr. Heisel, the one we used. And, you know, I'm just paraphrasing here. He thought, oh, that one had a lot of little problems. But evidently those all been, he had to start with the screwdriver.
He's
you know?
got a bill for $5,000 and he's spent on it, which probably
Okay.
half of it's labor.
Okay.
But he did fix the throttle, the starting switch.
Okay.
And there was something else on there that was gonna get fixed and
Okay.
he's repaired all that.
Okay,
And that's why the price went up.
okay. And as far as the rental and everything that happened there, that's just,
Included at 37.
all right, but that's water under the bridge, the time that it spent really not doing anything, there's,
Yeah, that's,
okay.
that was part of it. So,
Okay. Okay, all right, well, I guess I would like to just delay a little bit so I can talk to Jerry and see if we're real serious, to see what he really thinks about this one, and maybe show him something like that too, or maybe he's seen that already. Did he see it?
Yeah.
Okay. No, okay,
There's several of them on that home. There's several of them on machinery trader and
Okay.
stuff like that you could look at
okay,
and compare. I didn't really find any of the bigger ones close, like Cammy found them two there in California.
if you had to go to Illinois to pick one up, what do you think that'd cost? I mean, we got the truck and the trailer to do it,
I'd have to look the mileage up for sure, but it's probably it'd be a 4-hour trip out and back. By the time you load it, another hour and a half to load it. So
okay,
you're looking at probably a 10-hour day to go and get it and back, and then whatever the mileage is, you're looking at probably 5 miles a gallon. I just have to figure.
okay, just,
With our own trailer, and I'm sure you can save a little bit.
okay. So bottom line is, if the county wants to use equipment they have, we gotta buy another piece to make it work. And so we need to do something, or is this one available? The one in town is available for rent if you want to go that way?
If you want to rent it.
Okay, but that's, okay, all right. It gets kind of
There
high,
you go, you're
Well,
gonna have
and
$15,000 in your rental.
all right.
you always have it available if you own it.
And this big one, the bigger one in town, it loads right on the trailer, everything's fine.
But you have the truck.
Okay. You got a question for him?
Is it? Should have the blade on the front too.
This one doesn't, and that's not a necessary
I
item.
just wanted, I didn't know if it would be or not.
No, because you got the,
That helps.
you got the motor vehicle.
Okay, right on. Thank you.
I don't think so.
All right,
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, anybody else? I guess we can,
Pam, you can,
yep, I think she's hitting them. You need her?
my question was on, in the minutes, on those numbers, did you check the numbers? She asked. I think you asked me, to check the numbers. They look pretty close to me, so.
He- Yeah,
I think that was right. So I think it was right.
he didn't want you to leave the room before we asked you a question on that bid for the 270th. If the numbers came out right, but you haven't seen them, so,
The numbers are out right on the motion that.
yeah.
She's publishing the minutes.
I did.
Sorry.
It's all right. We're not off track. So for everyone out there listening, I guess when we made this motion to approve the 270 street reclamation, we didn't approve the whole project. We did most things. We left one item off. And so we're just trying to make sure with Road and Bridge there that those numbers are at least close to being correct. So,
Yeah. My figuring they were.
Yeah.
Within
Okay.
$50.
The minutes here should. Yeah, reflect the change.
okay.
I'll bring it right.
All right. All right. Right on. Okay. Any more public comment or county personnel? If not, the next item on our agenda is solid waste. Morning. Good. Thank you.
This that I gave you is the packet that I made up for the proposed new addition out at the landfill. And I want to bring everything up so that I'm not adding things later. So I'm gonna bring up, this is an aerial view, this front page. And there's a couple of things that need to be done, but I don't know that they should be put in on this building project, but I want you to know that it's gonna cost some money, it needs to be done. If you look at the top of the page, that's where we drive the semis around to drive down through the tunnel. I think everybody's familiar with that. And this new one with the addition there, the semis, the loaded ones, all of them will be parked on that blue pad up there at the very top of the page. And then they'll be hooked and unhooked there. And then we're gonna drive around to the left. And we need to go on the left side of that building with the loaded semis to leave and go out to 190th Street. So we need to put rock down there to get that sufficient for a loaded semi to drive on it.
On the west side of the building.
Right, on the west side of the building, which is the left.
This, all right, okay.
That's gonna probably require extending
Oh.
the tubes too, won't it?
No, that's done.
Is
We
it
did
done?
that last summer. Tubes are done. So we need rock hauled in there and then we can smooth it down. But we need someone like John to tell us this is the size of rock you need for a base and you need to build it up properly. But that's an expense that I think we need to look at because that needs to be done. Right now, we're backing the semi up, we pull it onto the scale and then back it up against traffic. And we have people driving in behind it, and I'm just afraid there's gonna be an accident. So I wanna get away from that, and that's why we're parking clear out north like that. So that is one item there, is get that road made there. And then another thing that we need to do is the tipping floor itself. We've got dirt that goes up to it, the tipping floor. And that, as traffic goes on it and rain and everything else, it washes that hill down. So now we've got about a 4-inch curve from the dirt up onto that tipping floor. And we are using a solid wheel backhoe to push that trash. So you guys all have enough farm experience. You know that when you need to push a heavy load, and we're pushing like 8 tons of trash, it's dumped out of a trash truck. We need to push that on that concrete floor into the tunnel. When you go up over that curve, you need to have a little bit of momentum to push that load. Well, you can't go up over that 4-inch curve with any speed at all. Because now just going over it normally, the windows are coming open because the cab's flexing that much. And that's because the dirt is just washing downhill. Well, the answer has always been, I'm told, is bring in a load of rock. Well, this rock just crushes up, it's cheap rock. It just crushes like on the road, and then it washes downhill, and then we got a dust problem too. We need to put concrete 10 more foot across the front of that building from fence to fence. To do this, that way the backhoe can be backed up on concrete and just drive forward on concrete the whole way and push that.
That's out here outside the,
Right. Yeah, and I believe 10 foot will be enough to help us a lot. So that's the one big thing that I really think needs improved on that building.
Is 10 feet, so when I hear 10 feet, that's not much.
That's not much,
Uh,
but it's enough that we could get by with it. 15 feet would be better. There's no question.
wherever you stop, it'll end up washing out
Right, it's
eventually.
gonna wash out. But the thing is, I'm looking at that backhoe,
Okay,
where we need to be able to back it up, get it positioned, and then not have a jump to go over.
okay.
And that 10 foot, I believe, would allow us most times to do that.
So, okay, most times, you're saying not all,
No,
most,
not all.
okay. All
No,
right, 10 foot,
we've had the trash almost down to the scale.
yeah.
So like when our trucks and then trash trucks dump, is that 10 foot going to compensate for them sitting on concrete for dumping purposes too? Where they're not hanging out in front of the building door or.
It depends on the size of the truck. The great big trucks, if there's nothing behind them, they'll still be on concrete the whole time. But if there's a load up in the back there, they'll be hanging on the dirt. Right.
So if you're 10 foot out, how wide approximately?
The opening's got to be about 50 foot because that's the length of a trailer. So probably 60 foot by the time you get fence to fence.
Okay.
60 foot by 10 foot.
60 by 10.
And I'm not sure how thick that should be. A concrete guy's gonna have to tell me that.
What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it should have rebar in it. And that is going to have to be poured in 2 sections, the north side and then the south side, because we can't shut down. It takes concrete 28 days to set unless they put that additive in it, like the road department does. To get it set up quicker. And we can get by with that if the truck's back in at an angle and just use 1/2 at a time. Well, can't be poured all at once.
Okay. And so you'll get quotes on what a project like this is gonna cost? Are you happy?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you want the 10 foot?
I think they can easily give you 10 foot, maybe 15, but
Sure.
10 foot is just gonna.
Seem like much.
Yeah, it's not much, but I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Keep it as cheap as I can and
Right.
still.
The best thing we can do for that concrete, if you pour it, you want it to be what you want, because any seam will just be weakness.
Yeah, okay, well. I will do that, 10 and 15.
so with asphalt work,
No, I talked to the road guys. John's the one I talked to. He said that asphalt will not stand up at all because the trucks pulling up there and turning. He said their turning of their tires is going to just tear that asphalt out. Because that's what I asked for in the beginning, and he goes, don't do it. The concrete, I don't know if I told you this, The concrete, I thought it'd last forever. The floor up there is, you can actually see the rebar because the tractor has wore the concrete off the top. And it's probably 2 inches of concrete's gone. And then we got rebar exposed, so it wears.
So do you need to put more concrete up there too?
I would say no, not at this time.
But then if you put this other in and it's the match, it's going.
I think it's gonna be a lot of years before anything has to be done. That was made in the 80s and we're just now down to the rebar.
Once your rebar starts showing, it's.
Is the wear across the width of the whole floor under that shed, or is it, my understanding was it's right where the trash went over.
That's been fixed.
That's
We got
been
a
fixed.
new chute there.
Uh-huh.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Okay,
But we had a metal company come in and fix that lip.
so when he says you're seeing rebar, I mean, were these two pieces, this new piece of concrete intersects with the old, is that where it's
Okay.
showing rebar?
That we've got a concrete floor
Uh-huh.
underneath this, right?
Uh-huh.
Underneath the roof. The whole length of this, we can see the
Oh,
rebar
yeah, okay,
coming up through the floor.
okay,
Because the concrete's wore off the top.
okay, okay.
That would tell me that the concrete's probably been worn out about this much.
I agree.
Probably where you're pushing more towards the front versus the back, because you start in, you drop your blade. Most time your loads are up there forward.
You know, it's back about halfway is where I really noticed it. The rebar starting to show up.
Okay,
And, you know, if you're thinking about that, I don't know if you came in and poured like a 4-inch cap over the top of that, I don't know if it would last.
crack out probably. Okay,
And I'm thinking, and if we need to talk to a concrete person, maybe they need to drill back into that existing concrete to the,
They will put rebar back into it.
all right,
so I will, and, but I didn't know, does that need figured in with this new addition pricing? I don't want to add a bunch of stuff to you later. That's what I'm after, if you want it all at once.
Make it one project instead of. That's
Okay, so that's that one.
Okay.
Okay, the concrete one. Now, another thing we need is, and I talked about this last summer even, we have to cover the C&D pit 3 times a year, every 120 days. Okay, that takes a lot of dirt, and right now we're going to that field across that creek to the north. That is really hard on that track loader. To getting 1 bucket of dirt, driving down through that creek, back up on top of the C&D, we're gonna wear that thing out, it's not gonna stand up to it.
Mhm.
And that's what we've been doing all last summer. Okay, and it's hard on that machine. We, Rhodes has come and helped a few times. You know, sent a driver over the dump truck, and we got, you know, a couple days from them where we would load the truck for them and they could drive it around. The times come, we need to do it again. Richie said he don't have enough dirt there to cover it. Between him and I, we will make the trips with the track loader and get enough and get it covered, so we're in compliance. What I am requesting is, I'm sure the county has got a dump truck somewhere that they could bring there and let us use to do it. It would just be Richie and I be the only 2 that ever use it. And they could come and get it anytime they need it. It's just, we gotta wait till the conditions are right. It can't be muddy anywhere. The ground's gotta be thawed out. And we gotta do it when we got time and we can do it. And we can't, you know, the road guys got their own jobs to be doing. And I can't expect them to be there every time we want them. But I'm sure there's gotta be a truck sitting around somewhere that we could use.
did you ask the road guys if there's
No.
one? No?
No, we've asked about other equipment like the broom and stuff and or the tractor to mow, and it's, oh no, you guys can't have it. So. I don't know if anyone has a truck that would fit that or not, but that's what I would like.
Sure.
And eventually I still want to get that tube, and I'm gonna talk to John about what it costs to get that extension on that tube and across there and get that creek filled in, because that's even hard on the truck driving down through it every time. And eventually, by the engineer's plan, that's where the public is gonna drive across. Eventually, and that's gonna be the new C and D pit out there. That's probably 20+ years down the road, but we need to be looking at farming. So that's the additions I have to this project.
I don't see any issue with trying to find you a truck, especially if there's one out there, but I don't know if there is one. And we're just gonna have to ask some questions, I guess. But on the flip side, I also don't see any problem with you asking some county road department to take a day or two to haul some dirt over. I think we could make that work. Now, if you get behind, I mean, would it make sense? Would it make sense to have them, when they have some time in their schedule, to bring you a big pile of dirt and get it across the ditch and get it closer? Or do you need it just when do you want it hauled over just when you want to sprint?
No, what we've been doing is piling it
Okay.
there so that it's stockpiled. It doesn't matter when it's done, you just gotta do it when it's not muddy
Okay,
and the ground's
and
thawed.
so that's a good system versus like right when you need it,
Yeah.
dumping the load right
Yeah.
close and laying,
Yeah.
you just want a pile of dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they hauled, Lucas came over and hauled for an entire day. And that wasn't quite enough to cover it once.
Okay.
So it takes time.
okay.
And we loaded it.
How is it digging that dirt out from the hillside, just a
It's-
track load?
It's easy.
Yeah, I didn't know. You know, if there's another piece of equipment we needed or that break this off, but
I'm not used to using anything like an excavator, so I don't even compare it to, but I do the track loader and we're just scalping it right off the top. So, and that's working good for me. And then we just turn and dump it into their truck.
Does every county truck work or does it have to be a certain height or
No.
under? Everyone, you can get over it?
Yep.
Okay,
So then you go back and make it deeper or just picking the top?
We're just taking the top off. What it is eventually, according to the engineer's plan, that's supposed to be a pit on the north side. And we can go down 10 foot above water level. So that's 10 foot above where the creek's at. That's what he told me to do. So we've got a lot of dirt that needs to come out of there anyway. So we're using the dirt that's coming
So how big an area are you taking it from?
out. It's a big area. Yeah, the blueprints show it. It's, I don't know, probably 150 yards north-south and probably 300 yards east-west.
I guess my question was, should you be going deeper now? So when you do get over there, I don't know. I have a problem with taking all the topsoil off and
Yeah, and
we're not going deeper.
yeah,
going deeper.
well. Again,
I-
the business that we're in is digging that hole to put sandy in, and then you've got to cover it every 120 days. So we're going to use subsoil to cap that off, and we're gonna use topsoil to cap it off. It's, you know, if we wanna sort out the topsoil, which is a lot better dirt, you know, put it off somewhere for the very final one, that could be done.
Probably good. Maybe, I don't know, cause
Yeah.
That's very.
Yeah,
it-
that's taking it to a whole new level. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
I think in this instance, though, the topsoil just,
If we were scalping it and that was gonna be the end of it, I completely agree, but we're digging way down.
so this is a wild idea. If you need it 3 times a year. We have 3 road departments. Could we just work on a rotation that says, hey, 1, 2, or 3, it's your turn during the year. Come over and haul dirt for me a couple days, give me a big pile and go away. Would that be better than having your own truck?
If they can work it in, you know, I don't wanna, they've got a job to do too.
Sure.
I don't wanna. We'll do what we can, but
So-
yeah, that would be nice if they
Okay,
did all. the
and I'm
work
not
for
trying to
us.
put you on the spot. We'll take the heat for it. Just if you needed, if you had in an ideal world, would you rather have your own truck that you could do when you wanted, or would you rather have access to the county shops and they'd come over and they would work with you and get it done?
It'd be nicest if they hauled all the dirt,
Okay,
but not against us doing
got it.
what we can do.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I wanna work together with everybody.
I think.
We do
is
too.
to-
But
Who is to bring like the excavator out and have a couple pieces of equipment there and have 3 or 4 guys drive the trucks and load it. We could get you a huge pile that would last for a long time.
That's true too.
Because the excavator can knock the dirt loose, and then we bring our high loaders out to unload the trucks, so I mean,
Yeah,
we just have to.
Do you have room for an enormous pile of dirt?
yes,
Okay, that's a good idea too.
I think
Yeah.
that. You know, we find a time where a week to be donated just to clean dirt, hole where you with 2 or 3 trucks, not just
Mhm.
one truck. Get you stocked up for the year, if you do it once a year.
Yep.
When you need extra, little extra, you can grab some when you need it,
mhm. Yes, good idea.
but
Yeah, so if you got almost enough hold in one day. I mean, you got quite a bit hold in that one day, right?
Right.
Pretty near enough to cover it once.
Yeah, partner,
So if you had 3 trucks and that excavator, digging it out,
yeah,
loading faster, it wouldn't take a week and
yeah, I just.
a day or two, a couple days, but
We had other stuff that came up. Sometimes we can't stay
Sure.
on something totally for one day or something. We had an emergency. something.
So we just need to coordinate with them to get it
Yeah.
done at the landfill. And is that something we talk to them about, or do you?
I can talk to them, and that's all right.
Talk to John. and-
Yep.
so you need it right away? Something right away?
We can get this 120, I believe it's March 19th or 16th. That we have to have it covered for this time. I mean, we've got almost enough there, so we'll take care of getting the rest for now.
Okay.
But we're looking 3 months down the road,
So it'd be
4 months.
more in the fall.
Yeah,
Late
it's
summer.
late summer.
So you could coordinate and then maybe come back to us when you guys hatch out a plan?
Yep.
All right,
I will do that.
right on.
I guess. Just the deal is don't try to do it when you're chip finishing.
Yeah, well, we gotta do it when they've got
And
time.
I think that would be after that. What you're talking about, late summer.
So,
Should be.
and if that's the case, you know, and I'm getting halfway there and they're not gonna have time, then I'll come back and ask for a truck. If they just leave and we'll get it moved ourselves.
Sure.
Okay,
Sounds good.
all right. Any question about why I need that tube across that creek? Okay.
They don't-
I will keep working it out. And the concrete on the floor.
Would you explain to me on this map? So you started up here at the top of this parking pad. This is just to get the dollies on. That's all that's for, just the dolly.
Okay, the dollies and the back axle of the tractor.
Up and-
Because if you don't have it level and it gets cockeyed, it
Right.
does not
Won't
look
hook.
very well.
Okay, and so 10 by 50, 10, that's wide enough.
Yes, that
Okay.
gets the back axle and the landing.
And then you want some base rock in on the west side of the actual
Right.
building here. In the shadow on the picture, and that's to drive completely around, so they're not backing into traffic. I didn't understand that.
Okay, right now, this is 190th Street.
Right.
Here, okay, the semi, we load the semi here,
Uh-huh.
okay, we drive out here onto
Uh-huh.
190th, pull around, come down here and drive onto the scale to weigh it.
Okay,
Okay, now that we got it filled and weighed, now we have to back up. We back clear out to 190th so that we can go over here and park on the east side of the building.
okay. Okay, and so by doing this, then what will your pattern look like if we rock it? It's,
Okay, the semi empty one comes in here,
uh-huh,
drives around here like this,
Uh-huh.
hooks,
uh-huh,
hooks onto a loaded trailer, and then they drive out here.
you can go right away. Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you. You had to spell it out for me, I'm sorry.
No, that's
but I
fine.
understand.
That's- Okay, I wanna go through this packet that I gave you, if there's no other questions. Okay, the front one shows the addition. And I put where the parking pad goes in an overview because the contractors all had questions about when I talked to them. The second page. This new one I came up with, the new addition is going to be attached to the old addition. And I think that solves a lot of problems. One of them was, we have all that water that comes in on the floor because of the rain. But this new one's attached to it, that completely alleviates that. So we don't have that anymore. The reason I did this, we've got the gable roof that's looking at you on the existing building. The new one, the gable is gonna go the other direction, so the roof is going to overlap. You got a gable, does everybody picture that?
It's running north. and
Right.
south.
Running
To
north and
overlap
south.
the other building, the joint.
Right, so it'll have 2 valleys on it. One-
Don, before you go too much more detail, for upstairs, I think you wanted to bring that, Don sent a proposed contract for a hauler. We had sent that to the carrier to review, so we're waiting on it for that. Send that out. So.
Okay.
Try to follow up with them this week and see if they get us back. That's what I'm gonna.
If you remember, we have that contract, the agreement with Nick Smith until April 1st right now. I'm trying to get ahead of that because we need to advertise for everybody else. Okay, what I sent you, I intended that just to be the advertising of it, because the contract will not be drawn up until these bidders come in and go, this is what we will do it for, and we pick one, and then we'd write a contract, is the way so, yeah, they're not looking at the contract. part.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
It's your invitation to contract.
Right. Okay, so I am working on that, so I'm not putting it off to the last minute. Because we have to advertise for 2 weeks, and then we gotta give them time to respond back and open it and pick one, and then. So I don't think we're gonna hit the April 1st deadline, but I've been trying. So it's out there.
Yeah, Don said that last week. We sent it on to the carrier for input, so hopefully we'll hear back this week.
All right, it's in process.
Currently, it's been about, requiring to have a agreement with them. So we're basically that find some that have an agreement with them, so that's the last email I had last week. So I just sent it. So I have currently another entity having something else, not an agreement.
Okay, and we went through this kind of last time. We don't have the agreement with Hands. It's the hauler has the contract with Hands.
But they're
We don't-
basically making us, or we can't hire anybody unless they have an agreement, so it's like.
Well, what it is they are not going to allow anyone to pull their trailer without an agreement between that person, and that's rightfully so, it's their trailer. So it's just, I put in there that that's one of the terms of it, because they have to have that. I don't want that hidden and show up to pull it, and go, you can't pull it.
So any bidder that wants to haul trash from Brown County to Hames has to have an agreement with Hames that Hames will allow that driver to pull their trailer.
Right,
All right, and does it, well, I guess I don't know anything about that, but does it cost them extra money then to be on Hames approved list?
no,
They have to pass some sort of training? some
they,
sort of
they have
safety
to
test?
have insurance.
Insurance.
Yep.
Okay.
And I've got a copy of the agreement. It doesn't include us. We're not in that contract between Hams and that driver, like Nick Smith right now. We are not a part of that. That's between them two.
But right now, Nick would be approved. to haul
Yes.
the Hames. Okay.
Right. And insurance is the big thing.
Okay.
All right. If you guys have something.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so everyone understands how these two would hook together.
So,
Yeah.
so just back to this thing, does the county clerk need to be spending time doing emails back and forth with Hams about this or?
I don't think so.
I just sent it to Kate Jeff to have them look.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you were talking to someone at Hames.
No.
No, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, and I'll help, if there's anything. Hams is really easy to work with.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll turn to the third page. This is the floor plan. There's very, very little that we're gonna touch on on the old part of the building. We're just gonna butt the other one up to it. And, we're gonna use the existing front door to kind of go into a waiting area, for a better lack of term, where you go into the, where you talk with the office person. It's just like it is now with a split door between the gal and out there.
Just up in that little hallway there where they always stepped in before.
Well, it's actually going to be stepping into her office.
Yeah, okay.
It's there now because we're moving down a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
So you're putting a door in here where the window used to be, or?
right. Mhm.
Okay,
and get rid of it.
We're gonna have the bed, they pay outside if they had been, they're gonna have to cover, we just walk inside that door.
I've got it, so they just come inside. I guess if we want it, so they pay outside, I think.
I think it's easy because The wind blows in.
Yep,
everything.
that's, yeah. It's just easier, I think, to have, come inside and do it. And the dust is terrible down there.
Could you just where's the scale start here?
Okay, the
Compared to-
scale is actually going to be almost from end to end now.
End to end, okay. Okay, so that puts them right where they need to be, all right.
And you can look at this, the satellite one, and that kind of helps give you a perspective too. Because you can see the scale on it.
Scale's gonna probably drop off about, right? There. so it's gonna be-
Actually, the scale is a little bit farther than the new building, if you look on
You can see it.
So scale is right there, wherever the truck's sitting.
Oh, all right, okay, I thought that was a
Yeah.
truck and a trailer
So it
behind.
just comes
That's the
past
scale.
the.
Okay,
new
makes
building.
sense, makes sense. Okay, sorry, go on.
the, okay, so. Kept this pretty basic. Okay, over there, if you look at the very center top of the page on the floor plan one. You've got a garage door that's facing the south to the right. Right now, that's a 12-foot door. That's where Richie drives his truck in. Okay, with this new addition on there, there's not gonna be room for that 12-foot door. It would overlap into this new addition. So my proposal is to take that 12-foot door out and move it to the north side, straight across your drawing there.
All right.
And so we're gonna reuse that door. There's no door there now. Okay, and then where that one came out, frame that in and put an 8-foot wide door in. And keep it 12-foot tall so we can still move like the backhoe and stuff in and out of there. And that'll be a workshop area.
What's your H stand for?
Um, yeah. Oh,
all those things.
okay, I'm sorry, the next page is the,
Explanation.
yeah, explanation for what each one means.
Oh, okay,
So that'll help you.
okay.
And it puts on there what size of door and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Is the contractors, you know, everybody's looking at the same thing, knowing what we want.
That's very thorough. Have you? Okay, you went with the gable roof. This roof intersects with this roof. I understand all that. So this old building, part of the reason you're doing, or that you want to do this is because it's in a state of disrepair. So is the roof on that building tight enough that you feel good about putting new and connecting to old? And I guess, you know, we're gonna have brand new on the south
Uh-huh.
and old on the north. I mean, is this building, the timeline of this building is not gonna be near what the timeline, you know? How do we make that? So
I
in 10
think-
years from now, we're like, oh, great, we've got to tear this old one down now because it's completely.
And the way I'm looking at that is we're going to have a load bearing wall between the new one and the old one.
Mhm.
That's gonna be load bearing. So you could, in theory, just chop the roof off there.
Okay,
You don't have to do anything to get rid of it. But
okay,
I believe that this old building still is structurally sound enough
mhm,
that it will hold everything up. I'm not
Okay.
worried about that. What's wrong with it is it has no insulation.
okay,
It's below the ground level around it,
Uh-huh.
allowing all the water to come into it.
uh-huh,
And, you know, the fort or the wall coverings are not good.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's the big problem.
so the daily activities, besides like the workshop stuff, the machinery storage. It'll all move to the south and that'll be new and then you're insulated, you're comfortable, everything's the way it needs to be. This building, the old building structurally will still work. The roof doesn't leak. I mean, it's not leaning, it's in good shape. But you just won't do, we won't have to do office type work in there with gloves on.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So on that south side of the old building, the new building attached, where we have the main problems gonna go away with that, with all running through, because we're gonna have buildings attached, so.
We're gonna have a roof over it and a floor against it to keep the water
That's
from
where
coming in the
rusting
bottom.
out, water would run through the building, so the bad part of the building that we cover up.
So did someone, that's pretty flat area up there. Did we do the grade work up there to make sure the water will flow away or like
On the backside.
on the, like, is this area, is this gonna be a pool? Is the water gonna come in there and set? Are we gonna do all the dirt work to get it away from there?
Okay, It's already running away from there.
There's no trouble with that right
Right.
now. Okay,
You know,
okay.
yeah, and the reason for that is when they get a pothole, they go, hey, bring me a load of rock. And so they built that up so high against the building,
Okay,
you know, that,
and that's part of the
Something needs
reason
to be
then the water runs in the old building the way it does.
Right.
Okay, all right, we're clear. Thank you.
so that's my proposal on this meeting. I
So-
think this is a lot better than what I did.
So on your drains. To me, you shouldn't be running your floor drains to your septic tank.
Okay, and it's just the one, what? And this one in here, I was thinking about that, where I would like to have a place where we can wash vehicles. You know, like
Right.
the spray truck and all that kind of stuff, and the tractors, I like keeping them washed up and clean. And, we can't just have a sump there, because that is gonna fill up before we even get the track loader completely washed. So we need to have it drain away, I think.
But not,
Not to the tank.
right,
Okay, so if that's going to be, are we going to have to, how are we gonna dig that? It's gotta go to the north.
I don't know. But if you put all that dirt, you wash all your thing in your septic tank, it's going to fill your septic tank up too fast.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
So typically in a wash bay in the shop, we just daylight it somewhere.
Okay,
The ditch runs to the west, but that's an awful big, that's an
That's a
awful
long
big,
way.
like a lot of footage. So to the north,
that's a long ways to about the same.
about the same.
I guess you're gonna dig anyway, if you go over there and buy the septic tank, buy the new one. Should go that direction to the west.
So if you put two lines in instead
Yeah.
of
One of them be a
sewer line.
for drain and the other one for septic.
So that's a question for the contractor, I guess. That drain might get.
Well, that or we need to write it in there.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah,
want it.
yeah, it needs to be in there, I think, because I think Mr. Paul's right. You don't want that water in the septic tank, we'll just.
Good. I think we should have a sump in that floor drain to catch the mud and stuff.
Mhm.
And we clean it out in the shop,
Mhm.
but like you say, some of it's gonna wash on down.
Mhm.
Put that in.
So you'll change your,
Yep. and we'll put that
Okay.
in there. Okay, and then another thing is, I think we need to have a deadline for, when this should be finished. Like, if we say that they're opening bids on this date, and then you set a date for when you're going to accept the bids or, you know, reject them, whatever you do. Set that date and then awarding date, and then put like 90 days, 120 days from the date it's granted to him to have it done. So that they don't take a year to build a building,
sure,
so.
I don't know what an appropriate time period would be to complete a building like
Yeah.
that.
So I just think we need to have something in there though.
Sure.
And I can ask some contractors, you know, that
I
are
think that'd be
looking at
appropriate.
this.
Yeah,
what-
available.
Yeah,
Okay.
got a question? Nick?
Still, the financing is still an issue with me,
Yeah.
but. Probably have to have it this year, can put it off till next budget year.
And
I
then,
believe that, you know, Richie has saved the money out there, and the money is there to share this building, if he wants to, the building enough that, you know, it's putting dollars to good sense to get this building done. I mean, we're just putting a burden on the landfill. The landfill's never gonna be able to afford that building. Well, to save for 5, 6 years, for you, by then, that other building being completely disarray. It's almost there now.
What is your concern?
Cause the noxious weed is a levied tax.
Okay.
And the landfill is paid by the users.
Okay.
So I don't think you should be using the levy tax necessarily to. support that.
If you made an estimate, how much in this new building, percentage wise, what's landfill, what's noxious weed? Just, I mean. Is it?
okay, are we
50-50?
talking square foot area?
I'm just saying,
or-
is it 50-50? Is it 60, whatever? No, I don't need to get you to the square foot, I guess.
What, square foot, I would say, you know, if we wanna go that way, I would say 3/4 of the new building is not just weed. Okay, but you look at it, how much man hours is used out of that building, it's gonna be 90% landfill. So it depends on how you wanna look at it.
Okay,
You figure you got 3 employees working there landfill wise. You know, and the people coming up to it, you know. 1 out of 50 people go there for chemical spray. So how much of it's gonna be used, you know, depends on how you wanna look at it.
okay. So what part of this, then, just back to the original map and the rock on the west side, is that a county job? We're gonna take that on our own? We just
Yes.
need,
I believe we,
we can
that's
do all
the
that.
cheapest way is
Okay.
do it county wise.
Okay,
We've already extended the tubes and done some.
The
work.
tubes are done,
just
yes.
bring them some rock. Yeah.
Yep.
And do you rock the whole thing up to your parking pad? Is that
Yes.
what you're after?
Well, we about halfway because that's all rock right now,
Mhm.
but it's single lane, just to aim it for the tunnel. We need to be able to swing a little bit wider to get
Okay.
around.
Okay,
So, but basically the road is already rock from about, I'd say 150 foot north of the tipping shed. We need to start widening it out
all right,
for a lane around there.
okay.
Maybe about 12 foot wide or so. probably.
Yeah.
But you need more up here so you get around them.
Up here, the width of that parking pad should be fine. Because we're going to drive up there with an empty trailer,
It's not-
unhook it, and then you just move over to a.
But it's not rocked all that way now.
Yeah, it is. right.
It's rocked that way.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's,
What do you mean width wise?
yeah,
It's close. We may have to go a little bit more. I don't think, it's just a layer of rock over the top. It's all packed filled with a base. So maybe a little on the top.
So my assumption is that the landfill, noxious weed, county entity, they work together pretty well with other county entities to kind of get things done. So if you need a load of rock, you would talk to a road foreman somewhere. And then the landfill or noxious weed pays for the rock, but the county road department, they haul it in and you just, that's how it works, correct?
And that's the way we've been doing. it.
That's how it works. All right. So as far as funding for this rock here, say it takes 10 loads of rock, whatever it takes. That comes out of the landfill and noxious weed budget. And then the road department, they just supply trucks and a driver and it's just, business as usual, right?
Right.
Okay. So this really doesn't get bid or anything as far as rock. It's just an expense
Right.
for running. Okay.
And then getting back to your argument, though. You're saying none of this should come out of noxious weed for that road. Right?
probably.
Okay, I just want to make sure we get everything out right now.
Cause the noxious weed's not gonna be using it. I guess what I see, noxious weed has a lot of money sitting there that. Then maybe they don't need so much to next year's budget, they could. Fund some of themselves.
So I'd say the noxious weed, build a new building, and then we just have a landfill and have a set price to rent it for you,
Have what? Rent?
right from the noxious weed. For the noxious weed, build a building and $500 a year to use it from the, so, noxious weed building and landfill. Like, something.
Well, then if they already got, so we could close the noxious weed department down. If the state change the rules. What do you do?
No, it's not, but the landfill owns the land out there. So the noxious weed is,
Rent the land from the landfill to the noxious weed building.
yeah, so I mean.
A circle.
I mean, we're just kind of,
Yeah, I don't know, but I just.
Well, it's a good point. It's a good philosophical point. You know, why if the noxious weed can accumulate enough money to build a big building like this, maybe you need to look at their budget. But what I like about what they're doing out there is there are 2 departments working together. And it seems to be like we can be more efficient with resources. If noxious weed, they're gonna need a building somewhere and the building they have is, I mean, it's inadequate is the best word I would use for it. It's, I wouldn't wanna, it's just in a state of disrepair. Just because it's old and so I like what you got. You get a little more bang for your buck by working together, but that doesn't invalidate what you say because that's true. I mean, if they can accumulate that much money, then,
Well, we've already taken a major cut in there with this budget this next year, they are gonna have to use some of their, we did take their budget back.
Okay.
And, well, and Richie took this over not that long ago, and he learned to work with less people compared to what George did. George always had to have extra people helping.
Okay.
Richie gets more done by himself, he doesn't have a hired person, but that's why he's been able to say he's doing more of the work himself.
But as a taxpayer, you don't really care if you're paying a tax to the Caucus Weed or the county, but the mill levy is the same.
no, I mean, I understand.
So I guess, I don't know.
We're trying to find balance. I think that's what you're after, is trying to
Right.
find some balance. I'm glad that department was able to be thrifty with their resources and put back some money to plan for, because that building, whether it costs you a nickel that year or you don't spend anything on it, it's still costing you money. And every year that it ages, that's what do they call that? Like deferred maintenance or whatever, depreciation, I think is what it is. So that's smart and that's what we want. But we also want people to run lean. So that's,
Well, and what's happened here at the landfill all these years is they have not spent any money on upkeep.
it's.
And we are paying for it now,
Yeah.
and it's gotta be done.
Okay. So you have an approximate amount of money. You think this building is, the new proposal is similar enough to the old one that you're gonna fall in? You think you'll fall in where you need to be?
I think it'll be close.
Okay. Okay, and if it doesn't, do you have some things there that you're not like set on that you can modify to cheapen it up? Or is this building what you want? Absolutely, it's what I have to have.
No, we could stay in the old one if we have, to,
Well,
you
sure,
know,
sure.
but, I don't know what I would cut out. Because I don't know that I can make it any smaller.
So say the building comes in a little over and you just, the budget's
Mhm.
then is the concrete in front of is that optional or is that more important than,
Then the building.
well, yeah, if you can't, and I know that that's not a good comparison because
Yeah.
one's small, one's huge.
Let's just use this parking pad out here, okay, for an
Okay.
example. That, I think we need to have, and if we don't, okay, we'll go down there and park them trailers and put the dollies down. And a rainstorm comes in and that trailer tips over and it structurally bends that trailer up.
Mhm.
Okay, now the county owns those trailers. Because we parked them somewhere
Okay.
where it wasn't. So, can we get by with that? Yes, but I don't think it's worth the risk.
Okay. All right.
We've already got 2 trailers out there. Of them, so we don't
So-
need more.
So say, this is just. If you park those trailers there and and I've had this happen at home, we got a windstorm come in and I had an unhooked trailer and tipped it over. Does the county own those trailers then? Or does Hams?
If it damaged it or not, yeah,
We own it.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's on our property.
okay.
And that was a big legal fight over those that burned, so that's my best interpretation.
Okay.
That'd be legal that attorneys would play.
So you bring that up, so where's the? Is that it? The wind comes from? Southwest, strongest wind, I don't know, just thinking,
The prevailing wind and, yeah. In the winter, it's northwest and.
right, so if the northwest, your trailers will be more likely.
Is that the direction you're parking them now? I think that's
Well, the directional part now is behind this
is behind.
building.
Kind of protects it.
Protects them.
Yep, it protects it.
Yeah, well, it takes a heck of a wind away, but it can happen.
But we park the full ones back here because we have concrete pad
Yeah,
for landing gear. The empty ones go out here in the middle of nowhere.
okay.
So they have, as
So
long
the
as
full-
I've been
the
there.
Full one's only be at the back. Or is it empty?
Right now.
Yeah.
The full ones are in the back. Because you have concrete.
But when you make this change, the full ones will be here too. They'll all park. on
All
that
be
new
down
parking
here at the
pad.
bottom.
All right, all right. Well, I for one appreciate this picture you made because it's so much easier to look at the
Mhm.
picture and hear what you're saying and I like it. So I want to say thank you for that. But do you have any more questions for him as far as the building and?
So, just. This is lower than this up here, right?
Correct,
So there's some wind protection there. Up it's coming from this direction.
yes.
So is there room enough to, I was thinking, do you need to move it further so we could build a, plant a windbreak in there?
Okay, this actually is higher than the road now up here.
Okay, so the-
It's got some.
Okay,
Now, eventually, the CND pit will come clear to here. And that's going to be as high as the floor on this tipping building. So it's gonna be down in a hollow eventually, but
so I
it's
guess,
gonna be years.
is this,
Is it
Is
high
it-
enough to do the job?
is there 50 feet from here to here?
Yes,
Okay, so that this is. That's the question, I guess. My question was, is this far enough or do you need to move it forward 10 or 20 feet?
yeah, and I just threw it in there. as
Yeah,
a-
you,
What we'll do is go out there and put stakes
Okay,
when the contractor comes out and go, this is where we want it. Cause we'll actually drive a trailer down there too and park them where we want it.
okay. And then if you get,
There's gonna be windage.
no, it's just,
And that's different than what we had with the batteries and the fire.
Yeah.
We have a wind event, our insurance is gonna cover. We fought with them because of the fact that we don't know whose problem it was with the battery that burned up in the trailer and the trailer burned up. Was it their fault because they left it there for over 24 hours? Or our fault because they got in the trailer? I mean, I don't think the wind events is gonna be an issue that we're gonna have to worry about if something happens.
well, I think you'd ought to plan.
Hasn't happened since I've been here.
well, and I tend to agree. What he did though is he brought up a bad experience that I had with an empty trailer and a high wind and like Mr. Pollock saying, if you can plan for it, set it in there,
Mhm.
why not? But I don't think it's a huge concern.
And we can haul dirt in, you know, and make this bank higher if that.
That's gonna happen
So-
naturally anyway with
Yeah,
the C and D
it's
pit.
going
It'll
to
just continue.
eventually.
Well, in the meantime, if you plant some cedar trees there in a couple of years, then.
You're gonna put a noxious weed next to the noxious weed building? Come on.
I'll put some of that kind of tree there.
Okay, okay. Anything else?
All right, what do you want me to do next on this?
Think you
In
do.
addition. Are we going to put it out for bids?
Think so? Doug?
You wanna do it before you have inspections? That's it.
We've gone, thought through everything, got everything planned out.
Okay, so on this, there was a couple of things you don't need to,
The pad.
put an open drain
Mhm.
for the floor drain.
Mhm.
Okay. I need to put that on the spec sheet. And,
Pad. Pad.
okay. Do you want me to put that concrete pad up there? On the building? On this project? I don't know if we get a discount for our quantity of concrete, you know, where you're adding it to that other. Or not,
I don't know, you get a discount, but
thing.
just be a matter of, they're there, they might give you a little better price there, if they're a little bit bigger.
Well, help me out. What are the pros and cons of doing it, of lumping in with the building versus doing it on its own, other than potential cost saving?
It's easier for me because I put it in on this bid and then have to do another, so I have to pro it in.
Okay,
Otherwise, I don't see where there's an advantage either way.
okay. I just lump it in.
Okay.
That's what I said.
So,
What do you think, Mr. Paul?
I'd say if you poured your stuff up here where you needed it, and then if you had excess or whatever down here, you can make it that a little longer or a little less or whatever. So your truckload's coming up, right?
Sure.
they could bring out full truckloads.
Well, or
Okay,
you still estimate it, but
Yeah.
there's always a little,
Yeah, there's usually a little, there not be that much along.
well, but yeah, I mean, but a foot or two or so.
all right, so.
I don't know if that's important or not.
So, can I do the 15 foot then?
I think it's,
Bid them both ways. Is it possible? Bid them
Well,
both ways?
what-
Do you want?
I want to send this whole packet out
Uh-huh.
and go bid on this, and if I have two different things, are you wanting them to give me two different bids? It's a lot cleaner if you just say, I want it this size, and one bid comes in and that's.
I don't think 5 foot's gonna make or break.
5 by 60, no, by
No.
8.
No,
It's, I mean, it's a few yards. I don't have.
that's quite a few yards of concrete.
It shouldn't change. The basic per yard cost though won't change that much. If you needed to do a change order, you could probably do it.
The, try and go from memory, I think it was around just under 5,000 for this pad. And that's, 10 foot by 50.
All right. I'm gonna say that it's a small enough dollar figure. I just don't think it'd be that big. If 15 foot is adequate, 15 foot's better than 10. 10
Yes.
you did because it just barely
Yeah,
met it.
just barely made it.
15 feet will give you what you need.
Yep.
And I would just say do 15.
They pouring concrete, better pour what you need.
That'll be approximately 60 feet by 15 feet.
15.
Your other was 5, so that'd be about 7.5.
Right, was there anything else
On the
I
building?
need to, yeah, but I need to change on the spec sheet? Okay, I will get this typed and the changes made and get it to Nikki as the official spec sheet.
And then do you want to do it and prove it, or? We can start with the visions.
What'd you do last time?
You guys just approved it
And then
and
you just-
she advertised it.
Okay. What color will it be? Just the new
I'm
edition,
plain white,
just white. Okay,
Yeah.
you'll blend in with what you got.
you know,
Okay,
I'm not a colored person.
okay, white walls, white roof.
Yep.
All white, trimmed out and anything, just all white.
Unless somebody wants something different, it's just all white.
White will blend with what's there.
Yep.
So, okay. All right,
Make a motion, we allow to do the bids for the Brown County landfill addition / Knox Weed with the 2 additions that were added to that you need to add to this bid.
Yeah, could we set an opening date for the bids? In
How many
this
days do
age?
we have to have it in the paper? 2 weeks?
I don't know if there's a. Something that we're gonna.
March 24th?
March 24th, that seems.
Does that give them time enough to put this together? Let's give them 1 more week. I think.
Or you wanna do like one?
Maybe we need to get, we got 2 weeks for advertising, they need a couple of weeks to, at least for people, the word to get out that we have something, and it's a pretty big. I would be- I don't think it'd be good.
Do you have a date that you got in mind?
No, I just want to set one.
I think April, they're the first and second.
I think we go to April.
I think 6 weeks wouldn't be, I mean, why would 6 weeks too long?
Well, anytime you get 2 weeks in the paper and you give them a week to come out, I mean, if they come out 1 week, come they figure the bid up, it's gonna be another week and get it back to you. I mean,
5 right there.
so.
I mean,
You say
what I'm saying,
April
don't
7th, we're
cut
gonna
it too
open
short.
bids.
Yeah.
There you go. You know, the bids have to be postmarked by April 7th. I mean, the bids have to be in by April. So April 1st could be the ending date, you know, the bids have to be in by April 1st and we open them on the 7th. That would
Well,
be,
that still seems tight to me, but
it is kind of tight.
If there's the-
middle of April, that's what I say. What around tax day? What around the 15th? What's close?
What's a Monday?
14th,
Okay,
that number sounds.
okay, so let's make April 14th, the day it's open. And what's the deadline to have it in the Nikki's office?
The Friday before it, for.
And what's the date?
11th, April 11th.
Wonderful.
Okay, then I would like to be able to put into this how long they have after receiving the bid to have the building completed.
Yeah, I don't know what a reasonable amount of time is for something like that.
That's a pretty small building for a contractor, you know.
Well, we're coming late to their summer, spring schedule. 6 months?
And what month would that, that'd put us at 10. that'd be
October.
week of October, so November 1st.
I mean, sounds workable. Oh. Well, we got sidetracked with the date.
No, I
So we're-
thought this stuff should be added in.
So we're still working on it. It's a very lengthy motion.
All right.
All right. What do you think? Too tight?
No,
You
I think. Fine, fine. So,
Is that workable for the landfill noxious weed?
Yes.
All right.
because give them the license of the building.
Fine, like something like build our building out there.
Takes a long time.
If we did a 50 by 80, but I mean, in 90 days, I mean, we started in July and August 30th, I mean, it was framed and partially up already. So in a month or so, 90 to 120 days probably wouldn't be bad. I mean,
So,
The building itself.
so to me, what more important is how long is it gonna take her to build them once it starts? Cause that's gonna disrupt you.
I really think we can get around everything they're doing. It's like we're doing half the concrete up there. We will work around that. When they're building this new addition on, we'll stay in the old until they're done with the new.
So what I just told you about the concrete, if they're doing that two sections in, basically, that's what I said.
Okay,
Uh,
so I say the 1st of November. That's just for the sake of time, I guess. And on these type of contracts, if they don't make it by the end date, is there some sort of
I've seen
financial
lots of-
disincentive?
Yeah, we've seen lots of things done, like you penalize them for every day that they're late doing it. I've seen what you can do.
That'd be a challenge, but I think we say, all right, we got a timeline in here, then. I think they can do it because they're looking at what we did on our building. The inside's the hard part, but the inside isn't going to be, one half of it's gonna be finished really good. The other half is not. It's gonna have just inside metal, right? On the inside of the building,
It'll be
workshop.
sheet rock on the office walls and all that.
Mhm.
Just the bay where Richie's spray truck is going to have, I put a water resistant up 8 foot. So if they put metal or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so
It's simple.
it's an open area. I mean, it's not this, you got 3 offices to do in a bathroom. It's not like,
There's only one little section that's got any cabinets.
yeah.
You know, a very small area.
But the entire building itself, the entire structure is insulated.
Yes,
Is that right? Okay, and is that batting? Is that spray foam? Is that?
I guess I didn't specify that. Spray foam is what all the contractors told me I should do.
Okay.
So
I would
I will add that.
Okay.
I guess,
And we didn't use spray foam in our building and the way they put it in there, it was. They double insulated on the outside and inside with wrap and everything.
The foam keeps the wind out, keeps
Yeah.
the drafts out.
Yep.
Up there on the
Yeah.
hill, yeah.
That's what's really good. He, I'm thinking back to the contractors, they said you need to put in there if you're gonna have storage above those offices because the roof is so high. And they said it don't cost that much more, just write it into it. So I will put storage above offices.
But we are counting on you, Mr. Pounds. I know you put a lot of thought into this to make the building you need, plan for the future, but not go completely overboard, so we keep the cost where it needs to be.
That's what I'm doing.
All right, right on. Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor here, I guess. They got really long. Do we want to start over? Or do you have it all recorded? Okay, so can we rescind that?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll pull back from there. Bill, do you have something else?
yeah, so how is the financing of the landfill coming, getting it so it pays for itself?
It's doing real good. Last year, at the end of the year, we came out in the positive. And my only thing is I'm having trouble because we are breaking down equipment that's been let go for so long. Like that used backhoe that came from, that was supposed to be in good shape. The 2 of the cylinders was leaking so bad we couldn't use it. That cost me over $2,000 to send that to Topeka, and I haven't got the transportation bill on that. then we just had to send the new backhoe to Kansas City to get work on. We had to put new tires on the semi, because they were split on the outside, and the repair guy said those could blow out and hurt somebody. So I'm having to do a lot of maintenance because it's been put off for so long. The semi, we crawl under it and hit the starter with a hammer probably once a week because the solenoid's going bad.
So if you're behind, I guess, or there's so much maintenance, we need to adjust fees then to compensate for the,
Let me go another couple months
Okay.
and see what's coming, because we're coming into the season, we're C&D, we're getting, lots of semis in dumping.
Okay.
And that makes us a lot more money.
okay.
So let me see how
Okay.
things are going.
So is there any more questions with the building and that point? So can we, I guess, let's make something
I'd like
happen
to
here.
make the motion for addition to the landfill slash, not just weed. For the new building out there and the concrete work that's needed with the additions that we just talked about, and the changes. That will be added to the contract.
Okay,
And
and
then go ahead and release that for bid.
okay, and that includes the bid date, the due date and the open date and the completion?
Yes.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Okay, so been moved and seconded to approve the letting for bids, I guess you would say, on the landfill project with all the changes that we just discussed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all opposed?
I'll be at 4.
Okay, you're for it?
No.
Okay, so all are in favor. Okay, all are in favor. All right, motion carried. So we've authorized you to get some bids.
Okay.
All right, all these parameters. All right, is there anything else while you're here?
No, that's it.
Okay, do you want to? Now I have on my agenda here on this computer, the household hazardous waste. Do you want to talk about that while you're here?
Okay, yes. Let's do that.
Go for it. You have anything you want to say?
No, nothing to add. I know that we talked a little bit about it, how can we help the public? And I think if you're wanting to find something to help the public, there's other ways that you can make a bigger impact than doing the hazardous waste. An example is doing recycling. There's a big, people like that. They like to recycle and think they're doing something good, and they would use that a lot more than they would the hazardous waste. I really don't want to take on another responsibility of doing the recycling, but you look at Nemaha County, that's a huge thing for them. They've got trailers set out everywhere and they're hauling it in, and I don't know if they're on the positive side doing it. But if you're looking at it, how can we benefit the public the most? I think that would be a better place to put our resources than hazardous waste.
When you look at the trash there, when it comes in, do you see a lot of aluminum cans? Do you see a lot of glass bottles? Do you see that?
The cardboard is the biggest thing. We just get huge containers full of cardboard. So, and that's recyclable. That's probably the number one thing. The metal, we try to pull it off to the side and haul it down to our metal,
Mhm.
because that comes back to us.
Mhm.
So, that's a lot as much as we can.
So the one I'm most familiar with is Ashton County, where you come into town there, off the highway, they're right by the pinball place. And yeah, it's always full, so,
But then somebody has to take care of that.
right,
You gotta get it packaged up, hauled off, it's
Yeah.
gonna take some more labor, so. But, if you're looking at the hazardous waste, whether we should keep it or not, whether we're doing a service to the public. And, another thing is, we get one huge container in every week that is just full of stuff that should be used by the public. Clothes with the tags still on, that kind of stuff. And, that would be another thing that we could get that to the public, it would be a big service to them. And I don't think I should say who that's
I
gonna.
don't think you should either, and don't tell them when it comes in, you might have some visitors.
Oh, yeah, and it's huge, it's unbelievable, brand new stuff.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're.
Yeah, and, if you're wanting to do a service to the public, I think there's better ways we can spend our money.
What do you think?
I probably agree.
So I see the household hazardous waste as potential. I mean, from what you informed us with, what we get, what we charge versus what it costs us to get rid of it. It's a very, and there's no limit. It's a potential, it's a pretty big exposure for the county as far as spending some money. I would tend to agree with what you said. There's probably better ways of doing it. I'm not sure recycling's it. It gets a lot of participation. But I don't know much about it financially. I can't see how it's gonna be any more of a moneymaker than this was. You know, it might be just as in the rig.
And if it was able to make money, there'd be somebody out there privately doing it,
Yeah,
like Hamilton's and Fall City. They got out of the business. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause they came to us one time, someone did, they wanted to put Fairview in the little town, but never did fly.
so glass and aluminum cans, things like that, they actually do recycle most of the glass. A lot of it, if they don't separate it by color, you know, what we find out, the more you read here, some recycling company gets a grant to do it from the government, and then they sell the trash to some foreign country and they ship it across the ocean, dump it in the river. And I mean, you don't have to do much digging to find that out. But aluminum cans, things like that, they legitimately melt those down that way. So, to help you out, because we have an unsigned contract with this, Jackson County. To what I mean, are we prepared to go or no go on that?
So there's a question. So we find a hazardous chemical, then just throw in regular trash. So we're gonna look and push it through.
Okay, what we do, we instruct the employees out there to do, if we see something hazardous come in, like a lithium battery, we will put that to the side, and we have a company that we can call and say, hey, come get this. So we're not going to put something hazardous in there knowingly,
Sure.
but we're not gonna dig through the trash to look for it.
If they're unloading some trash and you see a lithium battery, easy, it rolls out, rolls right on the concrete, you see it come right out of their truck. I mean, do you take that and say, hey, this isn't,
No, we've got a place they can put it,
okay.
so we're taking it.
So if somebody has lithium batteries, do you want them to bring them to the landfill and put them in that spot?
Yes, put them in that spot.
Okay.
I really don't want to advertise it and tell everybody
we
in
just did
3
it, I'm
counties,
sorry.
bring your batteries here, because I have to pay for them to get rid of them.
So then do we need to change that policy?
So it's what,
As far as we just do not accept lithium batteries, and if we find one, you're taking it home with you.
I'm afraid we're gonna have a lot more hidden in our trash,
Okay,
and it's not worth buying another trailer.
okay.
So,
Just a question.
because that is, we smash it, and that's causing the fire
Yeah.
when we pack it, so.
Impressive. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
The lithium battery, I think we should keep taking.
Okay.
Even though it costs a lot to get rid of.
So they're not recyclable. We don't
Um,
reuse it.
I don't know what the company does with it after they take it, but you have to pay them to get it to take it.
Actually, no, I said some on top of the trash cans, the trash company knows about them. And then they always set them back on the ground.
They've had trash trucks here in town catch on fire on that big battery.
I tried to, so they know what they had. so
They don't want it. All right. Okay, so we do need to make a move on this. I mean, are you comfortable? Are we comfortable with the solid waste agreement and saying yes or no? Or not solid waste, but the household hazardous waste?
Don't make it on to the public. But, they're taking it.
Okay, and here's the,
They're gonna end up in our stuff, but it's just gonna be different.
So you're gonna give them a reason why they're not taking it.
I don't know.
I don't know if we have to give them a reason.
I don't know, I just.
So if we vote to continue this hazardous waste, nothing changes. If we vote to discontinue, what happens as far as the landfill is concerned? What happens if somebody rolls in with, you know, say in the interim here? Yeah, I mean, what does happen? Do you just say, sorry, we
We'll
can't take
tell them
that?
we can't take it. We'll go ahead and take their paint
Uh-huh.
because I can dry that out. I'll do that for them. Lithium batteries, we take that because
Uh-huh.
I know it's gonna end up in trash and we're gonna end up with a fire.
Mhm.
So I will take all the lithium batteries and outside of that, we'll tell them we can't take it.
Can't take. And so they have to segregate it out of there and then take it home with. them.
Right.
Okay. And can you clearly state what is hazardous waste? So in a way that people can understand? Or is it a judgment call when you see it?
It's nothing liquid. Let's right off the bat, we're not authorized. We can't transport liquid waste.
Okay.
So that takes care of the pesticides and all that right off the top. Batteries, you know, we'll take the batteries because we can sort them out and we've got a place that will take them for free.
Okay.
You know, so those are gone. And the lithium will pay to get rid of those. Trying to think of some other also,
Fluorescent light bulbs.
they're just going in the trailer,
Okay, no problem.
yeah,
All right.
so. If we see something hazardous,
Okay.
we're going to dig them home,
Okay. And you're comfortable with that?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know of any other way to do it.
Okay. All right, well,
Don't know to me. It's not cost effective for you to have the program there, it'd be a matter of, as commissioners want to pay it out, or budget, and have it at the landfill, because we feel we don't want it, but we still have to manage it and take care of it. It's still a cost to you, and then you know, it would be feasible for you to cover by.
and then we just transfer the exposure to us. Yeah, okay, well, I would, just in the spirit of moving things along, I would make a motion that we go ahead and discontinue the household hazardous waste contract. And initiate, I guess, what we see here as a closure plan. Effective, you need workable?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's my motion. Is there a second?
Also,
Okay, any more discussion? It's been moved and seconded to close the household hazardous waste facility or program at the landfill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All, I guess, motion carried. 3-0. Thank you.
Anything else?
I know that some cities do that and collect it and get rid of it too, so if they ever do that, that does help. The cost too, if people bring it in there, since the majority of our trash comes from the city, so if the city has a hazardous day, you know, they can bring chemicals in or something, you know, a lot of times they don't take tires, they don't take paint, but if they had something and, you know, that helps. I don't know, some cities do that. I don't know how often they've done that or not.
So we appreciate your time. We've had you for more than an hour. I'm gonna ask you one thing. You mentioned recycling. Would you, if you have some time after this bid thing's done, would you kind of investigate that a little bit, see what? And then maybe present that at a later date, see what you come up with? Just,
Yeah, I'll do that.
okay, thank you.
Anything else?
I think
Thank
that
you
long
very
enough.
much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. I'll get that.
Okay. Good job. Now we're moving on, and the only thing we have on our agenda is the minutes from Friday's meeting. Excellent. Okay, so was there any discussion or additions or corrections on the minutes?
Approve the 2025 minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I would second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve those minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Motion carried 3-0. Is there anything else come before the commission here this morning? See, we have a work session scheduled for afterwards, so we'll be available for 20-30 minutes after this is over. Anything else? Seeing none, I guess we'll call a motion for adjournment. So moved. There's a second? Hey, all in favor, say aye.
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 There you go. Motion carried.
Sorry, I got it online.